Almost 3 weeks have passed since I finished the last bits and pieces of Shadowbringers, and I'm only getting to the point of being cool-headed enough for this review. This expansion is extremely difficult to talk about without spoilers, so be aware that the video is gonna be full of them. I've been continuously warned about its infamous Feelsbringer's nickname, but I naively thought I was ready for anything. Well, we all know how that worked out for me, and if you don't know, this is a good video to let you in on my thoughts. Just like my other Final Fantasy XIV reviews, it's completely biased and builds on the previous expansions reviews, so if you haven't checked those out, you can find them here on the channel. My name is Ivona from momsden.com, and if we haven't met yet, subbing is a good idea. I make simple guides for classes, dungeons, raids, and collectibles you'll enjoy if you're a fan of easy in-game wins. I currently cover all things Final Fantasy XIV, and I also livestream on this channel quite a bit. If you're looking for a great MMO community, drop by the chat and say hi to us. The first and most obvious topic when it comes to Shadowbringers is the story, and I'll give it a blasting 10 out of 10. I honestly didn't think a game could make me feel the things I've felt, shifting my mood from excitement to unspeakable dread. The questline is a freaking masterpiece. The intricate connections to past storylines and characters that make you feel like you're in a world and not a subscription-based product are something I've never experienced before. I laughed and cried so many times during the MSQ, and I would do it all again in a heartbeat. Oh wait, I can, because New Game Plus is a thing, and I'll without a doubt come back to it at some point to get my shot of heartbreak. Character growth obviously kind of ties into the storyline, but I have to give it a separate 10 out of 10 just to highlight how terrific it really was. Grahatia, Alisaie, Xenos, Lena, Y'shtola, Tancred, and so many others have grown astoundingly throughout the arc, and it was so incredible to witness that. Tancred going from being every girl's fantasy to a full-on dad-cred persona, Exarch having literally changed bodies and timelines to satisfy his urge for adventure, Y'shtola finally having her ice-cold heart somewhat melted were all amazing things to see among plenty of other ones. And yes, I still firmly believe Tancred is everyone's fantasy, but more on that another time. When it comes to graphics and art, that's another 10 out of 10, as the places are astounding. Ilmeg is quite literally out of this world, and Tempest has become my favorite hideout with its spectacular views and music that pulls your heartstrings and never really puts them back in order. Speaking of music, that has to be another 10 out of 10, if not more. The iconic themes like Titania, Raktika's Woods, gentle tunes of Tempest, music in Crystarium, and the Amarang theme are absolutely gorgeous in their own ways, and each one made me fall in love with Shadowbringers separately. What was your favorite song? Let me know in the comments. Combat is something I already talked about in my Realm Reborn review, but having leveled my first job to 80, I now feel almost naked and powerless when I queue into old content with it. This goes to show that not only the combat improves and becomes more dynamic, but that the very abilities added in Shadowbringers make up for so much of the gameplay. Obviously I can't speak for all the jobs, but when it comes to Paladin, I'm hooked to all the things I now have access to. So here's a 10 out of 10 to spite everyone who claims this is a slow game. When it comes to the actual dungeons of Shadowbringers, I'm going to continue with this super boring pattern of throwing a 10 out of 10 on them. Each one is beautifully designed and unique, with terrific music, fun mechanics, as well as the gorgeous environments that make me actually want to queue the ride. Too bad I can't level all my other jobs in them just yet. My most favorite dungeon of all times, Matoya's Relict, pulls a lot of weight for this rank, as well as Dawn Meg, which translates the creepy, cheerful energy of fairies all too well. And of course another predictable 10 out of 10 is for the Shadowbringers Trials. The ones you see in MSQ, like the Dancing Plague and the Crown of the Immaculate, are one thing, but the Whirled questline takes the cake and all the candles with its ruthlessness, incredible design, and an everlasting heartbreak it causes. The duty in between those trials I recommend to no one, but you have to do it, so do it because it will be worth it. When it comes to getting flying in Shadowbringers, it's a 9 out of 10 for me. Still easier than Stormblood, but the two-part zone reveals in Kalusha and Amarang were mind-boggling, and some Athorites in the depths of Ondo Cups were an unnecessary nightmare I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. The trust system will get a super biased 6 out of 10, mainly because I tried to do them as a tank with 3 sad sacks who couldn't throw an AoE spell to save their life. The dungeon was painfully long, and I'll definitely never do it again with my main job, but I guess they do make life easier for DPS, so there's a generous 6 that I'm unwilling to continue to unpack. Back on the Shadowbringers hype train, so let's throw a 10 out of 10 on the role quests. This is also absolutely subjective, as I've only done the tanks one, but if the other ones are half as good, I'll be more than happy to stick to my first impressions and rate it just the same. I found it extremely satisfying that these questlines tell a story about characters we've been seeing over and over again, but never really got to learn about them for real. The rest of it makes me excited for leveling the other jobs, as I can't wait to find out how it all ties together. And last but not least, there's the social aspect of the game that I will give a 10 out of 10 every single day. This is not directly related to Shadowbringers, but more about my personal experience and circumstances. Over the course of this expansion, Eorzea has become my home. More than a game, more than a world, and more than a product. It is home, because that's where my people are. The people I laugh with, cry with, punch stuff with, and most importantly resonate with. I've never felt this way about any of the games I've ever played, as I've never truly connected with anyone inside of them in such a wonderful and exciting way. For the first time in ages, I've allowed myself to connect, get excited, and enjoy human interaction through an MMORPG. I made friends who, to me, feel like they've been around for ages, and if you ask me why I'll continue to play the game until the servers shut down, it's not for the story, not for the game design, or even for this channel. It is for them. And that would be the end of this cheesy love letter to Shadowbringers and my awesome people. Let me know how you feel about the expansion and what your most favorite thing is. Massive thanks to everyone who's been supporting me and my work here, as you're the ones keeping the wheels turning. I will see you in my next video or here on live. Take care, enjoy Endwalker, and bye bye.